Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to Pin Down. Baby, we are back and we are here with a little bit of a review for Dark Side of the Ring Season 7. Let's go. I know we're all excited for Dark Side of the Ring to be back. Great series of documentaries, I would say. I always have fun watching them. And it's always nice to pick up a little bit of knowledge that you didn't know before. And yeah, I mean, have we got a friggin' season opener, huh? We got a two-parter, 2 of 3 parts on TNA and Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, I know everybody's been really excited. It seems like on Twitter as well. There's a lot of talk about this episode, or these series of episodes, 3 of them. We're going to be reviewing the first 2 today. Because the third one's not out yet. That doesn't come out till Sunday. So, yeah, just first off, what do you guys, I want to get your guys' opinion. We'll start with you, Trey. What do you think about the decision to cover Jeff Jarrett and TNA? You think that's a wise decision, or are you dumb?
I think that's wise. I think it's kind of cool to get a little background on TNA. I've been kind of wanting something like this for TNA for a long time. I know TNA made like home videos, but I really wish they never went in depth like now the WWE ones, right? Where they like go through everything. So I was kind of hoping to see that with this, and that's what I got with it. I really like it. Certain people did not look great. I'll start off with Russo, and even Cornette. I like Cornette, but he didn't look great at it at times. But I thought Jeff looked great. Even Karen looked good. Even though there were some points I thought she was bullshitting, but largely she looked good. And it was cool seeing James Mitchell. You know, haven't seen him in a while, so it's cool seeing him. But overall,
yeah, the Sinister Minister himself, dude.
So overall, it's really good. We'll be getting into it more, so I don't want to spend too long on it. So
yeah, Mr. T, what are your kind of just overall thoughts on them choosing TNA and Jeff Jarrett to start the season?
I thought it was a wise choice to do it. I do know originally the creators said they wanted to do a 6-hour episode of TNA, but my question is, what was left on the floor, the cutting room floor, and what did they leave out in depth about more TNA stuff? So I'd be willing to see a 6-hour cut of that. But yeah, piggyback what Trey said. I thought Jeff came off looking really good in this documentary. I thought Karen stole the show with this documentary. Russo was fine, even though there was points I was just pulling my hair out at some things he was saying. But besides that, yeah. But all together, I think this documentary was really good. I think starting off with TNA was a really wise choice. So I'm really looking forward to part 3 coming Tuesday. I'm looking really forward to that.
Oh, it is Tuesday, yeah. No, I am looking forward to that as well. We should mention first of all. Obviously, spoilers for this. Go watch the first 2 episodes. Okay, they're fucking great. They're awesome. So make sure you go watch those. You know, support the people who are actually making the fucking documentary we're sitting here yapping about. Before we get into where we start, because we have our notes, let's just kind of go over some of the people they have interviewed. Obviously, we have Jeff Jarrett. We have Karen Jarrett. We got Vince Russo. We've got Scott Steiner's there. Mm-hmm. Eric Bischoff shows up near the end of the 2nd episode. Tony Khan's in the intro of the first one, but I assume he'll pop in at the 3rd episode.
David Sahadi.
David Sahadi as well, yeah. Scott D'Amore.
Yes.
Some writers from who wrote TNA and stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there's a really good group of people that they have for interviews. And who am I thinking of? Oh yeah, Cornette. We said Cornette.
Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong. Yes, that one. I think she did really, really well in this. By the way,
yeah.
And we'll get to her in episode 2. We're gonna review both episodes here in this one video. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to click multiple times. Don't worry, we've fucking got you, bro. Okay. So let's start off with episode 1. Episode 1 starts off with this big explanation of what early TNA was like, good and bad. Yeah, you have a lot of midgets wielding guns and jerking off in trash cans, which we will get to. But you also have the X Division, the Knockouts, just some really amazing moments in that company, which is why, honestly, why TNA is still alive today. It's because of all those great moments that they had in their earlier years. Basically, everything before Hogan. That really, has people endeared to them. I mean, it kind of goes on like that. It's a standard intro to a doc. If there's is there anything about the intro you guys want to mention, really, or pretty basic? There's not much.
Really not that much.
Not that much.
It was pretty much information we already knew, but I did think it was kind of cool seeing backstage footage of Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Jarrett at the go position at the old Asylum days. That was a cool little nugget to see.
Yeah.
But besides that pretty much everything we already knew about. So
that was pretty cool. The one thing I did want to mention is I thought Jeff had a really interesting quote. He said he was given the gift of desperation. Which has led him, which really is what it was, and we'll get to it. That's kind of why he formed TNA. He was fucking desperate. And he needed a place to work.
Cornette, where he was saying that TNA and Jeff are basically the same person. And I'm like, kind of the point, like, that they're both, fighting from the bottom, sort of type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can talk about, like, Kurt Angle. Obviously, Kurt had such a huge impact. Sting, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, but really, like, Jeff really is the heart and soul of TNA.
Yes.
Without Jeff, there's none of it. But even the early days, they had to rely so much on him.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. And it wasn't like an ego thing. I mean, maybe a little bit of it is an ego thing. I mean, it's wrestling, right? There's always a little bit of ego, but I think mostly it comes from desperation. Like you said, it's like, well, we don't know if Ken Shamrock's going to be here next week or Scott Hall's going to be even able to fucking wrestle.
Right.
So putting it on someone who's
Hardy. Like,
and
remember when he first came there? We're getting there, but just want to mention that real quick.
That'll be dealt with when we get to the third episode, which isn't out yet, but they have teased it. Oh boy, Victory Road 2011. So then we get into Jeff talking about his father, his childhood. His parents divorced when he was a kid. His mother fucking hates wrestling. And of course, his father and his grandmother are slightly invested in wrestling. I would say just a little bit, huh? His grandmother was a massive fucking promoter. His dad was a wrestler and a massive promoter. Like he's a third generation guy, right? Third generation promoter as well. Which, I mean, how many third generation promoters are out there? Vince.
Wow.
Any of the Crockett's, maybe?
I mean, David, Jim Crockett Jr., but I know David did like the production side of things. I don't really consider him to be a booker though, but yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot of third generation.
Not a lot of them
promoters.
Tony Khan doesn't count because his dad was more into other investments.
His dad wasn't a promoter, right? But yeah, I mean, he's a third generation promoter, and there's only like less than a handful of those guys, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really interesting that his mom, hated wrestling, and we'll get to it later, but they became very estranged over the years.
Yeah.
He talks about working his grandmother telling him he needs to work the concession for her, and then getting handed like $300, and that being like a moment where he's like, I want to do this, He started out as a referee as well, and then there was an angle where like Bill Dundee beat the shit out of him. They showed that just Bill Dundee whooping this kid. And his dad runs in to make the save, and then that's how they transition him into a wrestler. I feel like the Hearts did that too.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a Stu Hart thing too, where he would do that with his kids. I'm not saying like either one of them nicked it from each other. I mean that's kind of it's interesting though.
Sorry, Fritz von Erich sure did with the
I
Von
was gonna
Erich
bring
boys.
it up. I was gonna bring up the Von Erichs because like because they even mentioned he helped build the ring and stuff before he became a wrestler, so he did a lot of the background.
Yeah,
stuff.
Jeff definitely paid his dues. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's he was the guy they would get, right? If you're looking for someone reliable, if you're promoting, you're gonna get your grandson. You know that they're gonna fucking do what you tell them to, or else, right?
Yeah.
So super reliable, and he had a passion for it. Like clearly, he still loves wrestling to this day.
The kingdom. Like if he was, let's say, a Nepo hire, he would have immediately got the title or something. No, he had to work from the bottom, like anybody else did.
Yeah, and so then we get we skip over his work in the territories. It goes kind of breakneck speed at this point before we get to talking about TNA. Really, we go right into like showing promos of him doing the double J, JEFF, J. He's doing that whole shit. Double J, Jeff Jarrett. He's got like the shine doing. They show a little bit of "Be With My Baby Tonight."
Him going to the Ryman Auditorium for the vignettes, which was great stuff.
Yeah,
his old
and then
his old gear, bro. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, with the weird fucking strap shirt. Yeah. And then it goes like right into like Slapnuts era. Jeff, I know he wasn't Slapnuts in WWE, but like I just call him Slapnuts era, Jeff.
Yeah, when he had the shaved head and he started, he did the piss me off gimmick, and it goes like I had to fit right into the Attitude Era, which I like. I do wish it went a little bit into it, but I mean, I guess if you're going to talk about Jeff's momentum, he really did get that momentum in the Attitude Era. I guess a little before, but mainly in the Attitude Era.
And then it kind of, it's very breakneck speeds because we get like a bunch of important information within like a couple like 30-second increments from each other. At this point, this is the one part of the doc where I think they could have fleshed it out a little bit better. Because then we go right into him talking about his first wife, Jill, who, he talks about how he met her, like, he had his first date with her 2 days after his first match. His wife, and obviously she had a battle with breast cancer, not once, but twice. And this is the first time. So he brings it up, and that's why he was gone for a period in the 90s. And then he came back, with the pissed off gimmick type of thing going on. We also get him talking about Owen Hart. Because remember, he and Owen were basically a tag team at the time, being managed by Deborah when Owen passed. And poor fucking Jeff, man. And I knew this, but poor guy had to go out and wrestle right after his fucking friend fell from a stadium, like from the arena roof to the camp. Like that was harsh. And I mean, then he, obviously Owen passes from that, and it's, that's a huge loss.
Yeah, I just want to interject on that thing. I know that's been talked to death, but they really should have stopped that show and canceled it.
Of course.
Yeah, because they.
You know what? I think they would have. You know what? Hindsight, they would have. I think that was. I bet you, if you asked Vince McMahon his biggest mistake as a promoter, he'd probably say that.
I'd hope so. At least I'd hope so.
I would hope so. But
they showed that one picture, the one shot we got of Owen when he's being on the gurney, right?
Yeah,
they're checking. I'm actually shocked they showed that on
because I mean in the doc, real quick before we move on, I know Jeff said that there was a legit imprint of Owen's body still left in the ring. So I mean, for you to leave a dent inside that ring, it's made of freaking wood and steel, and you're able to make a freaking dent in that thing.
He hit hard.
Should just show the severity of that entire situation.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if he had been a little bit lower than where he was, he probably would have lived.
Yeah.
a little bit higher, he would have been gone right away. Like it's a terrible accident, and like
Yeah.
again, we that's something for another completely different separate video on what
Agreed.
the fuck happened there, which
Agreed.
I don't even think it's 100% clear what the fuck happened. I think there's a level of incompetence there, which is pretty sad.
Yeah.
Like from all accounts, Owen Hart was like one of the best guys out there in the wrestling business, especially a business that's filled with a lot of dickheads.
Last scumbag.
Yeah, he was kind of a saint among them, which is, again,
Jeff
we
was
all
talking
love
about
Owen
that.
Hart, bro. He's
Yeah.
one of the goats. All right. We then get Jeff talking about his WWE exit, that match with China. Was that SummerSlam?
No mercy.
Unforgiven.
No
No mercy.
mercy.
No mercy.
And it was for the
Yeah.
IC title where he dropped it, where Jeff was owed some money. So he went to Vince and asked for the money and then came back and was like, you know what? Can I get some more?
Dude,
That
He
part was
pulled the
funny.
Oliver
That-
Twist out there, dude. He's
I
like,
just-
please, so man, have some more.
I just want to say this real quick before we move on from that. Jeff Jarrett is the ultimate worker of all time. The D was only supposed to get paid $1,000, this is on documentation because Jeff said this out of his own mouth, so I'm not speculating. This came out from Double J himself. He asked for double. He left that building with $400,000 plus with stock options in the company, and then that following that Tuesday coming up after No Mercy, the company was going public.
Yeah.
Jeff
Wow.
Jarrett, the ultimate worker of all time.
In
The
some
guy
ways,
who-
you could say that money that Vince gave him was probably some of the startup money for TNA.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, probably.
Definitely. I
Again.
think Jeff's good with his money.
Again, ultimate worker. I just want to say that before we move on.
I agree.
No,
Ultimate work.
dude, honestly, Jeff Jarrett has like fucking like some level 10 Riz shit he was doing,
Yeah.
man. Where he's
He's
just
like level. He's like Grandmaster Jedi. Like really is.
Yeah, Jedi mind tricked Vince. Like,
yeah, dude. And Vince is just like, it was a pleasure doing business with you.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was fucking angry, like he was
Oh, he was
screaming.
I mean,
oh,
when
yeah.
Jeff,
Mad.
Jeff said he thought he was more mad at JR than he was at him, and I'm like, and plus I think there's a lot of similarities between Jeff and Vince because like both came from like I'm not gonna say broken home because I wasn't there, but I definitely know that Vince had a broken home. But like, how Vince would say, I won't get to see my dad in the summertime. I go to New York to watch the wrestling matches, and I'm like, and then Jeff said, I don't get to see my dad, hang out with him during the summertime with my dad. And I'm like, that's a lot of similarities between Jeff Jarrett and Vince McMahon. I'm not saying they're the same people. I'm just saying they're very
No,
similar
of course not.
upbringings.
They're obviously very different personalities. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
but they come out of similar situations, which is
Right.
really interesting. And they have like similar backgrounds. And again, they're both third generation promoters, which is
Yeah.
very fascinating to me as well, to come out of somewhat similar circumstances. Obviously, there's some major differences. But yeah, no, it's actually funny you bring that up because I was thinking that while watching the doc. I'm like, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get him in WCW and we see Vince Russo, and then immediately it goes like within 10 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, and then the WCW got shut down. And then we get the promo of Vince going double J, double O, double N, double E, gone.
Yeah.
Which is
Real
a
quick.
great promo, but holy shit, you can't be
Real
fucking
quick.
firing people on TV, bro. That's wild.
That's what I was gonna say. That was one of the wildest things that all this
What the fuck?
started because he fired him on TV. Like, and he was the only one. He didn't do that with anyone else. Like, by
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
No, he was clearly pissed off about the money thing, which, yeah, I mean,
That was like 2 years later.
there's
right?
a reason why he also made that Ultimate Warrior documentary back in the day,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
not ask Vince for more money. He fucking hates it. And yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how the fuck a publicly traded company got away with that.
If I can just interject before we move on, like I don't think like what was it to Vince like real when he said that, double G, double O, double N, double E gone. I mean, I will say about Vince, he was very good at blurring the lines between which person's talking, the Mr. McMahon character or the Vince McMahon, the man
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
So I think Vince is really great at doing that. I mean, Who knows? I mean, he probably thought, you know what, I'll pull a rib because we always know that Vince likes to pull ribs and some people like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, maybe he thought in his mind he was being funny with Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
dude. If it was me though, I would have brought Jeff in. I would have. If I was Vince, I would have brought Jeff in after cutting that promo and then have him.
I would too, but the thing is, I think he had one of those deals like Nash, Hogan, and Hall, and all them. They had like know, the AOL deals. So I
probably would have at least contacted the guy, be like, "I'm still interested. I'm gonna say this shit though." But clearly he wasn't. Like clearly he was still pissed off.
Oh, I'm sure.
No, that was what 2 years later. Because that was 2001.
It was
probably not even. What?
Not even 2 years ago, because that was right before Mania.
Maybe a
year and a half, because that was Mania right before Mania 17.
Yeah, because that happened in October '99. So I mean, this was March of 2001. So what? You do the math at home, but still,
over a year and a half. Yeah.
But real quick before we move on, I do think that Vince does have respect for the Jarrett family because I think he liked Jerry a lot. Because I mean, if Vince was going to go away for the whole steroid trial, Jerry Jarrett was the guy who was supposed to take over for the WWF while Vince was in prison.
Don't worry, we get to a part where where it shows how much respect that Vince had for Jerry later on.
Yes.
When we talk about Jerry Jarrett's exit from TNA. But yeah, we basically that's where we're at right now, and then it's from there. It's just Jeff is just like, well, shit. There's no number 2 company. This isn't good.
Yeah,
I have nowhere to work. A bunch of people have nowhere to work. We got to start something. So he and his father, Jerry, start scrounging money together, and they get the original seed money for TNA to start up. Their entire premise is that they are going to do monthly pay-per-views, weekly pay-per-views.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah, weekly, and they are like $10, $9.99.
Yeah.
The original WWE network price.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're paying it. You're paying it every week.
Right. Right. That's
Which back then actually was probably pretty fucking good for pay-per-view prices. Then Jeff goes to a company called Health South. We will get to them very soon.
Oh yeah.
And they decide to come in and fund TNA. Then they talk about the ring breaking, and shout out to our boy Cheeks. If you don't know about Cheeks, Cheeks broke the ring. The ring broke right before the start of the pay-per-view. Cheeks was the one who broke the ring.
Yes.
He's a very large African gentleman. He's our spirit. He's our channel spirit animal. We love Cheeks. We watched the second TNA pay-per-view where Cheeks has his one and only televised match for TNA.
Yeah.
And it was one of the worst things we ever saw. I mean, it was bad. The guy could barely move. Like, he was so large.
He's worse than Big Daddy V or Viscera.
I was gonna say, yeah, he made Viscera look like Rey Mysterio in the ring while trying to move. Like, it was bad. Like, it was really bad about Cheeks. But yeah, go ahead, Cream.
Yeah. And then then we get the first pay-per-view. We kind of get clips from it. Like, there's a clip of Goldilocks being like, I got your TNA right here. Like, they're showing off a bunch of stuff going on. We then kind of there's kind of just talking about how great TNA was, right?
Having Toby Keith show up for the first show, and
they didn't mention that. I think they showed a 2-second odd clip of that, but they didn't really mention specifics on that show.
They didn't, but I think they were trying to allude to
Jackie Fargo.
Yeah,
they didn't mention
Jackie Fargo was the goat of that show, dude. He was awesome.
Yeah.
And so then we kind of get we go a little further along, and it comes out that Jerry Jarrett and Vince Russo are not they're butting heads. They are not creatively in sync, right? And Russo has a good quote for this. Russo said, quote, I wanted a midget jerking it in a trash can, and Jerry wanted 1970s USWA. And I wrote, please God, give me 1970s USWA.
Yeah.
And legit, there is a segment on on TNA where there's a midget jerking it in a trash can, and apparently people in WWE saw that as it was happening. They were watching. They would watch the show to keep track of it, and they saw that, and they're like, "Oh." Like, again, that's the type of stuff that I think really hindered early TNA because it was just so there was too much, for lack of a better word, Russoisms in it. And it kind of held it back, which obviously they end up reining in later on and then letting fully fucking loose later on as well. We'll get to that. What are your thoughts? Do we want to talk about early TNA? What you guys think about it?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. Early I like that they showed that. I wish they showed Shamrock though. Like they mentioned him.
I think they did. I think they showed him suplexing what's his face who he beat for the NWA title.
Oh, that big dude. Show. Yeah. I did like that. I like them like Tyler mentioned earlier, the behind the shots of like from the go position or gorilla position of Jerry and Jeff on the back. That was cool. But yeah, there was some stuff in here like I didn't know. In early TNA though, it was kind of cringe. Like they actually show the clip of the midget was
the one where he has a gun and he gets fucking hit with a chair. Yeah, there's some bad stuff. Mr. T, what are your thoughts on early TNA, big fella?
Well, I mean, it's pretty evident when I tell you guys behind the scenes. Action wise, it was great. I think the in-ring product wise, it was a lot better than WWE at the time, in my opinion. Segment wise, no. Segment wise, WWE had that locked up, stock barreled, and everything in between. But like again, Russo's style of booking, he's all about. Yeah, here's you know what? I can't remember if it was this episode or the second episode, so I do apologize. But D'Lo Brown had a good point.
Yeah,
Vince Russo would rather have segments on a show and only have 5-minute wrestling matches and have more segments on the show in an hour and whatever minute show.
20 minutes, yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what Vince Russo is.
That happens episode 2 when he gets to run wild after Dixie Carter, which we will get to. We will get to Dixie Carter.
That's on me. I thought that was the first episode, but yes, but like
no, but it is true, and you get to see a little bit of that in this, where it's like, oh, dude, he has too much of the the reins are too loose on him. He needs to get them tightened up.
Yeah,
because when they tighten it up, it gets better. It gets a lot better.
It gets good.
It gets good.
They show it, and they do show it when it gets good.
And because we covered it, we watched the first TNA show, and that first show they had the Miss TNA pageant show or whatever the hell that thing was, and that was a clusterfuck.
Oh yeah, where they didn't even, no one knew who the fuck half of them were except for Mickey James, but it was before it was Mickey. This was like
Jasmine St. Clair,
James,
Francine
St. Clair, and
those are the only two I know. It was Francine, and that's it. Yeah. None of the knockouts you actually know were there.
Yeah, well, they weren't even a focus, which we will get to in the second episode. About the knockouts. We get the X Division. They talk about the X Division, I think, a bit here. The X Division was so good. It was so good. Yeah, they talk about AJ.
They showed AJ a couple times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, young AJ, dude. He was a fucking beast.
Guy was fucking great, man. He really fucking was. Then comes Dixie Carter, okay? Now, how does Dixie Carter get into the picture? Well, remember that Health South thing I told you about that was funding? It turns out that the CEO was committing fraud. So they pulled all their funding within like 2 or 3 weeks of TNA actually going live on the air. So yeah, it's not good. And basically, Jeff had to rush around and try to find people. And then I forget what Dixie was doing with TNA. She was in a business that was involved with TNA. I think it was like PR stuff or something.
Yeah, she was a part of PR because she I think, if I remember correctly, she worked for a company that represent like country music stars in Nashville and stuff like that. So Jeff found her. I think you said she was a receptionist or something like that for the company.
Yeah,
but
Energy. something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
That part really doesn't matter because what
Right.
matters is that she says, "Hey, you should talk to my father." And then they get in contact with Bob Carter, who is the CEO. He's the head of Panda Energy, which was a energy company.
Yes.
And they start investing in TNA to keep it afloat. This is where they don't quite go wrong yet, but they will very, very fucking soon.
Yep.
At around the same time, we then get like Impact on Spike, where they were on at like fucking
11 o'clock
on a Saturday, 11 p.m.
Saturday.
And then they're pulling good ratings, so obviously
Yes.
they end up getting moved up and stuff.
I remember. Just for quick, I remember those shows, so that's why reason why I remember the time slot because I watched those shows 11 o'clock on Saturday nights, and it was between watching that and watching Velocity, and I watched TNA. So
yeah, well, obviously
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make my worst enemy watch Velocity. So then we get the 6-sided ring, which is goated. Okay, love it. If TNA wants to regain some of their aura right now, bring back the 6-sided ring.
Yep. Mm.
It makes you stand out. I get it. Some people find it awkward. I don't care. Okay, it makes you different. It makes you unique, and that's kind of what you need right now, especially considering how bad TNA is right now.
Yeah,
which is sad
you
to
need
say.
something.
It really
you need
is.
A draw. You need a draw, and that would do it because they really showcase it. Like in this is when they mentioned them being on Impact and on TV. They showcase like some of the best moments in that 6-sided ring. I think at this point, like what, 2004, 2005?
2005.
Yeah, the turning
2005.
point cage spot I love still.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's great.
It's a beautiful spot. We then get people being mad at Jeff for having the belt. Which is kind of one of those things where it's a difficult. I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
To Jeff's credit, it's not like he put the NWA belt on him from the start. I mean, Shamrock won the belt on the first show.
Yeah, Shamrock was first champion.
And Jeff for a little bit wasn't even involved in that. And then eventually they're like, well, you're the biggest star here. We kind of do need you to have that.
And they did it because at the time, you remember, Jeff Hardy came in at TNA. He was there for a cup of coffee and went right back to WWE. That was the worry.
Yeah.
That a lot of these guys are just on leave for a little bit on their WWE deal and then they'll just go back. Because that's a lot of that did happen. Let's keep it real. There was a couple of those guys that just...
There was a lot of one-offs. I mean, like, didn't Randy Savage show up as a one-off and Chyna showed up as a one-off? There were a ton of like one-offs or very like
short
quick, yeah. So I mean,
like
it makes sense why. Yeah. Oh yeah. Jeff Hardy was there very quickly and then came back, and then he obviously had his longer stay later.
Yeah. If I can just interject for just a second, including the early days. If we're talking about the early days of TNA, where they're in the Asylum days, going into the Impact Zone, until they got landed on Spike, I think it was smart for Jeff to put the belt on himself. And I'm not saying for a selfish reason, but like you think about it, no one else's money is invested in that company but Jeff Jarrett and his dad. So if you put the belt on Jeff, he's not going to go nowhere and take your belt with you, right? Like you can,
and he's the biggest star. Like especially with a new company. I know it's not a new belt because it was the NWA heavyweight belt they were using at the time.
Right.
But again, it's a new company. You need to showcase your biggest guy, especially him being a heel is great because then you can build up a baby face. And I think that was the whole point behind it. I don't think Jeff was sitting there being like, I want to be world champion.
Not at all.
I think he was sitting there being like, oh crap, I have to be world champion and run this show. Like that's a lot. Like it's not easy to do.
It's definitely the reverse Triple H reign of terror, if you will, at that time.
Yeah.
You remember Triple H?
The only one being terrorized by this reign is Jeff himself, having to produce the show, do creative, wrestle,
Yeah, he was doing all of it. Triple H, at least at that time, was just a wrestler.
Yeah.
Largely.
Yeah, he didn't have
He was in creative a bit.
He was in creative a little bit, but he didn't have the power and pull like he does now in 2026. He didn't have
a financial investment in it, right? That's a huge portion of it too. So then we get also Jerry and Jeff start having friction in their relationship. They really start kind of going at it, and this is where we get Vladimir Kozlov.
Yeah. This is something I did not even know happened, by the way.
So, Mr. T, would you like to explain what happened with Vladimir Kozlov and why Jerry Jarrett was let go from TNA?
Okay, so for context, apparently Jerry was very pissed off with Russo, which I would be pissed off too if I had to see that bug-eyed prick every day too at the meeting. Plus, they said something about the Carters were getting on his nerves because they were trying to oversee everything as well. So he said, you know what? Pissed on it. I know how to get out of my deal. I'll go to WWE in Stanford, take this guy, and make sure that I'm in the photo shot for the .com for the website, so everybody can see it and get my contract terminated.
And clearly Vince did this as a favor to him. Like that's what I mean. Like on the website it says Jarrett returns, and it's not even about Vladimir Kozlov being there. It's just like, here's Jeff Jarrett. Oh, so he brought this big tall fucker with him. Like clearly that was Vince being like, here, I can help you out, buddy.
Which had me laughing too, because I think Jerry knew. It's like, well, number one, this guy, Vince is gonna love him because he looks like a shit kicker, right? But two, if he got signed by WWE, it's really not gonna affect Jeff's business because this guy's never gonna do anything in TNA. And honestly, too, I'm not a Vladimir Kozlov hater, but what actually did he do in wrestling? Like any significant?
He had a great tag team with the TNA commissioner, Santino Marella.
Exactly.
He beat the Undertaker on a random SmackDown. That's
literally. Oh, he did. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Oh God.
And this famous meme of him being on ECW. I love double E. I love double E. But yeah, I think, but I do think Jerry definitely knew what he was doing. Like Jerry was at that point. I don't know how many years Jerry was in the business for already, but like Jerry knew what he was doing. You can't outsmart the Jarretts, man. You just can't do it.
No, and Jeff was obviously pissed off by that. He's like, "What the fuck? Like, you're bringing talent to WWE? Like, what the fuck?"
And I think Jeff
in this with me.
And I think Jeff's exact quote was when he said he talked to his dad. Dad, we need to take a break, and they didn't.
That break lasted for 7 years.
For 7 years.
7 years. Yeah,
and we'll get later into it a little bit later, but there's a break there, and then it's not even that long after that happens that then Jeff's wife Jill ends up going through a second bout of breast cancer, and Jeff has to move the creative
to his home
meetings to his house because it's a very aggressive form of cancer. And she ends up passing away from it, sadly. And everyone was getting emotional. I mean, Scott Steiner got emotional. Russo was emotional. Everyone was emotional.
And really quick, I usually don't like Russo, but that was the one moment I'm like, I can't insult him right now because that was actually genuine. I'll give it to him.
No, you can tell that, like, she had a huge impact on these people, right? It's a friend of theirs' wife who, passed away.
And they mentioned the day
that's tough for
she
them.
died. They mentioned the day she died. It was on May 23rd, which was the same day as Owen.
Yep.
Yeah. And just going back to what y'all were talking about, Jill. Like I said, you can definitely tell, even though she was not involved in the wrestling business, you can tell that she was loved by the TNA personnel, and to see her go through that, I think people should remember Jill Jarrett as a warrior and a loving mother until this day, man. Because it's like that's got to be just a gut punch to her.
It was a tough watching Jeff talk about her. I was like, dude, all right.
Yeah, because I mean, this happened in 2007, and this is like 2026. So this was like 18 years ago. This happened
18 years ago,
and it still affects Jeff Jarrett to this day. And he's moved on. with his life, but still though, that part of him, I don't think he'll ever forget about that at all until the day he passes away.
I don't think he ever could. And so then he talks about how because he was estranged with both of his parents, neither of them showed up for the funeral. That's a bad, like, I'm not here to shit on either of his parents, but that's a bad look. That's probably something that they regretted. I would hope they would, naturally.
Yeah.
That's, to not even, I mean, regardless of what's going on, you gotta show up and be there. Even if you're told to go away and that you're not wanted, you should still make the effort, I think.
But
it's a situation that we don't know all the ins and outs of.
We don't.
To be fair,
we don't. But I will say one thing. As I will say this though, even if they didn't want to be there for Jeff, as cruel as that sound, they definitely could have been there for their grandkids, their three granddaughters. That they could have been there because Jeff.
And at least Jeff and his dad made up later on. So there's at least that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he did with his mom. I don't know.
No.
He doesn't really mention that, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we're not gonna speculate
too much
here.
into that.
Yeah,
but no, that's even tougher because you just lost your spouse, and then you have no family.
Yeah, you
to
have
be around.
You have no family support with you at all, and you're a new single father of three now. You're a widow,
and you're running a business, and it's and so I mean that's the end of episode 1. That's where we actually end episode 1. So let's you know what, we're gonna wait to give our thoughts on the episodes at the our overall thoughts at the very end. Let's go right into episode 2. Episode 2, it's time to talk about Dixie Carter. Oh boy.
Lot to unpack here, boys.
Lot of stuff here, guys.
Oh boy. Yeah, Dixie Carter has fully entered the picture, okay? There's a lot of talking and kind of teeing up of what we're gonna see later on. The first real point that we hit here though is that Kurt Angle is here, boys. The wrestling machine has showed up. My voice cracked there. Don't worry about that. The wrestling machine has shown up. Fuck, dude, that segment where he debuts. It's so good. It's so good.
I think they showed most of it. Then they showed a lot of Pete Angle, as they say.
It's so good. It really is. And the one guy brings up, I forget his name. I feel terrible for that.
David Sahadi. Yeah,
David Sahadi. Yeah. He brings up that Joe popping up in the back of the frame. Oh, it's so good. It's literally peak wrestling right there, dude.
I will say
amazing.
I will say one thing though. I watched that live on Spike. I watched that live when it went down, and I'll never forget that Impact Zone going nuts for Kurt Angle's generic singlet and his generic guitar riff that we know today now in TNA. But it was just so generic with a guitar. He just comes in there, stares down Joe, just stares him right down. Joe's got the belt because currently Jeff Jarrett's the world champion. And that Sunday following, I think it was Samoa Joe against Jeff Jarrett in a lumberjack match. But the lumberjacks were not wrestlers. They were fans with belts. And every time that Jeff would get out of the ring, they would belt the crap out of him. That is so Memphis. I loved it.
Yeah.
But just getting back to the Kurt Angle thing, Kurt just goes in there and headbutts Joe. And he splits his nose right in the middle.
Yeah.
He just splits it with the headbutt.
And then Kurt just screaming into the mic,
prime angle, dude. Prime angle, bro.
Yeah,
just
and I love they showed a quick. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
They showed audio of him. I think it's from an interview from that time about him leaving WWE. So they showed a quick little thing of that.
Yes. It was just if you didn't watch that TNA at that time, it was something very special to experience. It's something that's happened over 20 years ago. That happened in 2006. And that's still, I can see the back of my head. When I remember what I was doing. I remember where I was at when I watched that segment with Samoa Joe and Kurt. And that's one of those memories I always will cherish of TNA because that time period was so special to be a TNA fan.
Yeah. I mean, it starts to get real good soon, and then it starts to get real bad. And we'll talk about that. I have another note when they mentioned Shark Boy. I said Mr. T will be buying me a Shark Boy action figure.
Oh, give me a
So-
shell, yeah.
I
Yeah,
love they
dude.
mentioned Shark Boy. Shark Boy was great. I don't care. I love
Shark Boy got a lot more mentions than I thought he was going to get. I'm going to be honest. He got mentioned like 2 or 3 times in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Shark Boy. He got mentioned more than AJ Styles. What are we
Yeah.
doing here? Like, Shark
And
Boy
Beer Money.
Mania is running wild, dude.
And Beer Money.
And Christopher Daniels. They hardly mention
Yeah.
Daniels in this doc.
They only show him once in the TNA Impact intro
Yep.
when they start playing that in
Yeah.
the back.
Well, I think twice because they showed the Unbreakable match between Samoa Joe, AJ, and
Oh yes, yeah,
Unbreakable
Daniel.
match.
Yeah.
With triple
yeah,
threat.
you're right. So then from there, they're kind of talking about like, because of Kurt coming in, there was a lot more opportunities, licensing. There's video games. There's action figures.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities now that have been opened because of Kurt coming in because he was such a big star.
Yeah.
Then we go to talking about the knockouts.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of underrated when we talk about TNA. I think a lot of the time we talk about like, oh yeah, the X division was great, and the main event type of like the main event that was going on. The knockouts kind of get left by the wayside sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, one person you never leave by the wayside is Awesome Kong, though. Holy shit, she was fucking
Awesome
great.
Kong.
TNA.
That was when I first watched TNA in 2008. It was that street fight with her and Gail Kim. And me and Tyler watched it a couple weeks ago. I was like, women can do stuff now. You got these attractive women, but they're also having street fights. And you have the one, this is years later, where it was Tara and Mickey James just brawling in what, like a parking lot?
Yeah, in the parking
They were
lot.
like-
At Universal.
And they-
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just beating the fuck out of each other. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the knockout was real, bro.
My first exposure to Awesome Kong was when she was the very short reign of Karma
Oh,
in
yeah.
WWE.
Oh,
And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is fucking awful. Like that. And then I saw an Awesome Kong match. I'm like, why the fuck didn't they just do this? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, what did they do?
And then
she
she
came
got
in at the wrong time. Yeah.
and then she got pregnant in real life, and they had her to have a meltdown on live TV, and that's how they wrote her off on WWE TV. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. They didn't do Gail Kim very well either.
Oh, no,
yeah.
not at all.
Like, if you wanted to watch women's wrestling, then in the
TNA.
early 2000s, it
TNA.
was TNA. TNA, yeah, they had some of the shit that would probably not age well now, but they also just had actual fucking wrestling going on.
And they were attractive too. Like they had both. They
Yeah.
were attractive and they can wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think. Real quick, for move on real quick. So I just want to bring this up. You go back and look at TNA at the X division, the world title scene, the tag title scene, and the women's scene. I think that's the best 4 division like of all time, dude. Like you look at that roster between world, singles, X division, tag, and women's.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen
Yeah.
that like that well balanced of a division like for in a long time.
No, I think the
No.
closest you got was like Black and Gold NXT.
Yeah,
And that was still, I still think the tag division was weak there.
Yeah.
But funny enough, you mentioned that because Scott D'Amore kind of brings that up, and he's like, Jeff wanted it to be that we have 4 divisions, and each of them can main event a show, and each of them
Yeah.
did. And they talk about how the knockouts were getting like a lot of times better ratings than everything else.
Yep.
Because people they wanted to see it. They wanted to see what was going on. And so that was really cool to see. Trey, you got any thoughts on the knockouts before we move on in the episode?
Just it was really cool to see like you could have both like attractive women and all the Attitude Era stuff, but then also have them wrestle. And I even think there was a point Vince did do that. Like I would argue, late Ruthless Era, I thought the women's division was getting better, and you had a balance. But then it's like PG Era, he goes backwards. If you get my drift, so it's cool seeing the knockout that at the time. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, 100%. Like they just They pun intended. They knocked it out of the park. Hey, that was awful. I hate myself for saying that. I apologize to everyone watching. Anyways, we then get TNA Impact going to 2 hours.
Yes.
And it also, at this point, Jeff talks about how, he wasn't really grieving. He just kind of threw himself into his work after his wife passed. And yeah, so he talks a bit about that. Like, again, he's still dealing, all this stuff is going on with TNA, and he's still having to deal with the fact that, like, his wife's gone. He has to take care of his kids, and he's got to run this company. That's too much for one person to deal with, quite frankly.
Because the clips they showed were like, oh wait, so it's not even really a year later yet. Basically.
Dude, it's gonna take. It takes so long to get over something like that. Like, I don't even think you can fully get over something like that. But he's in a real shit position at this point in time. And then we get Dixie's power play, baby. All right.
Yeah.
She's wow. Okay, so let's get into this Dixie's power play. So Jeff talks about how Dixie basically was icing him out of meetings when they were talking about doing meetings for a video game for TNA.
For a sequel to TNA Impact, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Yeah. Which I do have a copy of. That game is hot fire. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so Dixie basically being like, oh, Jeff doesn't need to be in this meeting. Slowly it's starting to happen. Also around this time, TNA's getting a ton of bigger stars coming in. You got Scott Steiner. You got, like, Booker T. You got
Kevin Nash.
Was this when Mick Foley came in too?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 2008, 2009. Yeah.
So you get a ton of guys coming in. Oh my God, was this when the New Age Outlaws came in too?
So
they showed up BG James and Kip.
Yeah, I know they showed them, but did they come in earlier or did they come in?
Okay, so for timeline wise, Billy Gunn came in 2000, late 2004, early 2005. BG James was there from 2002 all the way to 2010, I think, or 09.
That's what I was thinking. I thought Road Dogg was there for a lot longer.
Yeah, Scott was there from 2006 all the way to 2013, 12, something like that. Yeah, so pretty much half those guys were there before Kurt was, but Kurt was the biggest get for the company's history, even though they had Sting, even though they had Christian Cage already there, they already had Jeff Hardy there. Kurt Angle was the big splash in the pond and made say, okay, we're gonna make some noise now.
Yep. So they keep getting more and more people coming in.
Yep.
I wrote a comment, wow, the guys making this doc hate Kevin Nash
and Scott.
Oh yeah, they were shitting on Nash too.
They fucking hate Kevin Nash. We then get a story about Kevin Nash, quote unquote, seducing Dixie Carter
at the DoubleTree.
At the DoubleTree, where he's liquoring her up and trying to basically get a better contract.
Yes, he was definitely schmoozing Dixie. I mean, and plus, I don't know if it's. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate here. I mean, I'm not even going to bring that up. It's not.
No. There's other people who will bring something up like that. But not.
I will say though, the Nash doing what he did, I think it shows everyone how smart of a businessman he is. Like I said, you may not like his tactics, but it is pretty smart to tell someone, "Oh, you're going to take over Vince." Yes, you're definitely going to do that. Now, Bob, about my pay, add another zero right there. Yeah,
no, he wasn't like you're going to do it. He's like, we're going to do it.
Right.
I'm going to be here with you, Dixie.
He's one of the smartest, like business-wise. He's one of the smartest ones. People don't want to admit it. He didn't have to work a lot. And he was part of one of the biggest groups of all time in the NWO and just ghosted.
I'll say this and we'll move on. Nash is a wrestler. He's not bad. He's not great, but he's not bad either. But as a worker, Kevin Nash is top 5. Okay. He's top 5. Dude.
Yes. Number 1 politicker around there, basically. Him and Sean. Yeah, Scott D'Amore has a good comment about this I really liked. He's like, Dixie basically covered herself in blood and went swimming with sharks.
Yeah.
Like, it's just she was not prepared for what all this was.
She got fooled by the carnies. Basically, she got played by the carnies, which she did. That's basically what happened.
And just
she got marked by the carnies. That's
and plus this one I want to mention that too. When you said about Scott D'Amore, when Scott D'Amore said that Dixie got mad at him when he called Jeff boss,
that was
my jaw hit the ground. I was like, wow.
Scott D'Amore is one of the guys who comes out looking really good in this doc, I would say. I like Scott. Like, I honestly, TNA would be better off with him still fucking there. Clearly,
and we were
fucking clearly like,
and we all three thought no, not really. But yet now watching this,
we were fucking, dude,
we were wrong.
We were wrong. I will take the L all day. I just want things to get better, man. So luckily, he's got Maple Leaf Pro. That he's
doing pretty good there. He's got his own TV deal, so
with TSN, yeah. So good for him, man. Like, really good for him. He's doing a great job. So then we get Awesome Kong talking about pay, where oh my god, it's so bad. Like, she didn't get paid, so she said, Kurt makes $1 million. Kurt should be making more than $1 million. He was worth more, which obviously he's the fucking biggest guy there. And then she's like, so why am I not worth 1/10 of Kurt? And it's like, fuck, dude, it's that huge of a gap. And Awesome, by the way, she says earlier how, much she liked Dixie, because she's like, well, you don't get to see that many women in, roles in the wrestling industry, right? It's a bit of a boys' club, that type of thing. But I gotta be honest, I feel like the conversation she says here kind of makes that shit to bed, where Dixie's basically says, like, there's no money for you. We don't have enough money for you. Yet they're still going and paying for, like, other people to come into the company.
Yeah, when did she say that? Awesome Kong said that Dixie told her, we appreciate your contributions, but at this time, we are not willing to pay you what you think you're worth, pretty much.
Yeah, which is so insulting, especially because she was talking.
She was number one knockout for the division. It's like, how in the world can you not pay your number one knockout on your roster? And she said this herself. Awesome Kong did. She was making less than a fry cook at McDonald's.
No, than a manager at McDonald's. But yeah, still, it's like she's making such a low amount. And then she said, like, 2 knockouts champions had to moonlight at other jobs. Yeah. One of them being one of them had to be a waitress, where people would be like, are you on the TV? And she'd be like, yes.
Can I take your order?
Yeah, dude. It's so insulting, especially when the company has that much money to be throwing around.
I mean, Taylor Wilde, just real quick, she worked at Sunglass Hut while she was knockout world champion.
Yeah, because I was gonna bring that up. Like, she worked at a Sunglass Hut.
Yeah, dude.
It's terrible. No, it's genuinely really fucked up that they made them like that happened. Like, you're on TV, you're a fucking wrestling star at that point. And it's like, I have to moonlight at the Sunglass Hut.
And
there was enough money to go around. It's not like there wasn't. I mean, they fucking paid Hogan a little while after this, so it's not like they didn't have enough money to fucking.
Well, here's the thing about Hogan. I was gonna ask you guys that too, real quick before we just move on. Hogan's contract and like Sting's contract, they were paid by Viacom and Spike TV. So if Kurt's only making $1 million, how much was Hogan and Sting making at this time? Like, how much? Like, do you think Sting was getting like $4 million and Hogan was probably getting about $6 million?
I feel like Sting would have taken a discount. I feel like he's that type of guy where he'd be like, I'm not gonna take a lot of money. But they would have lost all of that discount on Hogan, who will take every fucking dime he can squeeze.
Yeah, Hogan took the discount. I think Hogan got 10 or near 10 million. Honestly.
Maybe, but Viacom, like, in Sting's mindset, like I said, I don't know, and we'll move on real quick. I'm just saying, like, in mindset wise, if Viacom's paying if they're flipping the bill for my contract, I'm gonna ask for about $4 million. But if TNA itself's only paying Kurt Angle only $1 million, I'm not saying it's right, but that's a steal to have Kurt Angle there for $1 million.
Yeah,
it is, and and we get into talking actually a little bit more about Kurt here in a second. But yeah, the contract situation, there was definitely money for them, or they didn't have to moonlight at Sunglass Hut. Like that's fucking ridiculous.
Awesome
And
Kong
then-
shouldn't have to ask for a raise. She's the face of of your knockouts division. Like that's like if Vince skipped out on let's say AAA skipped out on Rhea right now, right?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
like Liv Morgan was having to fucking become a waitress at an IHOP in between TV tapings or some
Or
shit.
a Hooters.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Never mind.
But yeah, I mean, like that would have been like really that'd be really fucking bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing where it's like, ooh, Dixie, what the fuck are we doing here, huh?
Yeah.
So if things are getting tense, all right, in the TNA creative department and just TNA in general between Dixie and Jeff, there's a lot more tension. It's getting a little more volatile. Dick apparently was telling Russo to pitch certain ideas in creative.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jeff would be like, well, where'd you get that idea? Oh, Dixie wants us to do that. So she was starting to kind of get her claws into the creative end of it. She really wanted to run the entire thing. She felt like she could do it, right? And so she was gonna do it by any means necessary, which we'll get to later. But
Well, let me
she
ask
really
you.
was pushing for it.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Okay, I just want to ask this question to you guys. I'll start with Cream, then you make your way with Trey.
Yeah.
Russo says Dixie wanted that, and there's no doubt in my mind that Dixie. I think Dixie wanted to be. She wanted to be on TV, and I think Russo saw that. It's like, yeah, Dixie, you can be a star. So it's like, he could say that Dixie pitched this said idea, but do you really think this was like he told Dixie what he wanted to do? And she's like, well, Vince, if you think that's good enough, you should pitch it. And he went to the meeting and it's like, okay, guys, this is what Dixie wants to do. So he puts the heat on her and not him for that said idea.
Maybe, but I also feel like Russo is such a I feel like Russo would do anything if the boss tells him to do it just so he can keep a job. He's the type of person that will like tank a company's creative just so he can appease the person writing his checks, right?
True, I can see that.
I mean, he doesn't have to. I mean, he can tank creative whenever he wants. But yeah, I feel like that was what happened. Dixie was like, "Oh, I want to do this," and he was like, "Oh, I'll do this," and then he was like, "Oh," when people are like, "That's a dumb idea. Why? What the hell is that?" He's like, "Oh yeah, Dixie wanted that." So then he would push off on her a little bit, but again,
I mean, we weren't there at the writers' room, but I'm just saying, like, he's always
this is all guessing here, right?
like,
So,
but this is all speculation on our end. But like, he's always said that stuff when he said like, oh, well, the whole Sting and Abyss last rights match that was Dutch. He booked that, and I'm just like, I've seen Dutch Mantel's booking. That doesn't scream at me Dutch Mantel's booking. That seems like your booking.
that's a very Russo thing. And we get the clips of everyone yelling "Fire Russo" in the crowd.
Yeah.
Real quick, what do you think, Trey? What do you think?
I think it's a mix of both. I definitely think he wanted to be in her good graces, but I definitely think she wanted to be on. I mean, they definitely watched WWE, so they're probably seeing Stephanie McMahon. And I know I'm jumping it way ahead in time, but 2013, when Stephanie did the whole authority thing, I wouldn't be surprised if either she saw it or Vince saw it and was like, hey, Stephanie just turned heel. We can make you an on-screen heel character.
Yeah.
So I think but the creative stuff, I think, was her. I think she saw Jeff. They even say it, that Jeff was, quote-unquote, getting all the credit, and I think she wanted the credit.
And I will say that real quick, Trey, before we move on. I definitely think that Dixie wanted to be an on-screen character like an Eric Bischoff was, or a Vince McMahon type of authority figure on TV, and that's why she could have done it. And I think if she knew either two things, she knew that Russo would try to go there and book it. He would try to push it out there, or either Russo would say, "Oh, well, it was Dixie's idea, but really it's his idea," type of deal.
Yeah.
But put a bow on
Yeah,
that.
it's hard to say what exactly is going on in those meetings, right? It gets very chaotic.
To be a fly on the wall. To be a fly on the wall.
If only, then we would know it all. I would say,
Yes.
to rhyme. But yeah, then we get Karen Jarrett who who enters the voice chat. Okay, so she sits down, and she, finally kind of gets to tell her side of the story publicly, where she says that her and Kurt were separated before he went to TNA.
Yeah.
That they weren't together anymore. But she basically, came in for moral support for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
To help him out because, he needs money.
I think
she provide for their kids,
I think her exact words were that Kurt came and talked to her and begged her to be the perfect family or the perfect dynamic in front of TNA officials and TNA personnel to show he's such a great family man and stuff like that. But yeah, go ahead, Cream.
Yeah, it was for support. Like, it was to help him out, right? And that's what she did. Because obviously they have kids together.
Right.
She doesn't want this guy to fucking die, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean there's a whole situation there. She ends up on TV for a while, and kind of gets to vent her frustrations towards Kurt on TV. There's a lot going on at this point in time, right? So it gets kind of chaotic, but basically eventually they get fully divorced, right?
Yes.
And Jeff calls her, they become friendly. There's a long time where they're not in communication with each other, and she's not involved in TNA at all anymore. And then they become friendly, and then they become a little more friendly. And they end up dating, and kind of everyone is a little bit confused because they don't know the full situation, because how the fuck do you address it? How the fuck do you ask that question, right? Like, is that Kurt Angle's wife you're dating?
Yeah.
And then you have to be like, well, no, she's divorced and now we're dating. Like,
that's what I
you
was
would have to explain that a million fucking times. Yeah, like,
but see, when they were dating, that's why I don't understand. People were like, oh yeah, she's cheating on Kurt. But I'm like, he was dating Raka Kong at the time. I don't know if you guys remember her or not, but like he was dating her at the time.
So I remember that.
And Karen Jarrett brings that up, like he was already dating other people, right?
They already seen, he was already seeing other people. So it's like, I don't know where the TNA like personnel and people thought like she was cheating on Kurt. Like I don't know.
Wouldn't they be looking at that and be like, well, I mean, Kurt's already cheating on, right? So it's maybe a bit of a double standard there.
Maybe they were trying to maybe think of the Mad Edge thing. They thought this was a Mad Edge Lita situation when it wasn't.
Don't know, man.
Maybe it was just good old fashioned gossip around the locker room. It was so good to talk about. It's like, yeah, Jeff's cheating. Jeff is cheating. He's having an affair with Karen Angle.
That the boys look down on that a little bit, like in the part where, like, the boys put their what do you say, like up his nose to it or whatever.
Yeah. I think there might be a bit of that. Either way, the whole situation is how it goes down is really fucking stupid. Quite frankly,
it really is.
Yeah,
it's really dumb. So everyone at some point like figures it out, and they're like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And like, so apparently, Jeff and Karen are throwing a party, and they invite Dixie.
At Casa
Dixie
de Jarrett.
Casa de Jarrett. Casa de JARRETT. And then the shiny teeth noise, ting. So anyways, Dixie shows up, and apparently she's the only fucking person who has not figured this out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just kind of, she kind of just figures out that, oh, I can use this against him.
Mm-hmm.
And she does, and Jeff is basically ousted.
Yeah.
Well, he's not just ostracized; he's sent the fuck home.
Yeah,
he's ousted.
Completely.
He got basically out of creative. They basically solely make him a wrestler now, so that she's under him, or no?
Didn't they send him home as a wrestler too? Didn't they?
They
as a wrestler.
So
But that was when behind the scenes, right? They did that whole.
So for
you're just a
context, real
wrestler now.
quick, I think we're getting ahead of the. We're putting the cart in front of the horse. Jeff said when she called the meeting, first she said everything was cool. It's like, oh, I'm happy for you, Jeff. Blah 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 blah. Then Vince Russo said after that party was over with, she called Russo up and said, why the hell did you not tell me that this was going on? Yada yada yada. And he said the next couple of days she called him into the office, and I think that the offices were in Nashville at the time. So I think she had papers already signed up from Panda Energy, removing him from creative and from being an executive at that set time. So yeah, and it's just that to me that was just her leverage. It's like, okay, what can I stick dirt to you? And you gave me a great opening, so here it is, and you're gone. You're sent home.
Yeah, she took it. She took that opportunity, and
yes, because she knew that was a great way to get him out of the company, and she can be the main. She can be the main honcho of TNA wrestling.
Yeah. So he's out of the picture now, and shout out to Karen Jarrett, man. She just did not hold the fuck back at all.
No,
she
didn't.
Yeah, she
no,
went on.
fuck
She jumped
you.
by her man.
Yeah. That was fucking wild to watch. I was having a great time watching her just pop off. I'm like, yes, do it.
Yeah. I usually we don't talk about this type of stuff because we're dudes, but I will say one thing. Karen Jarrett, you can definitely tell she loves Jeff Jarrett a lot.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna go find a woman like that, find yourself a Karen Jarrett. Find someone like that. I screwed up. I caught myself. Okay. All right. Edit. But anyway, again, find yourself a woman like Karen, because you can definitely tell she's very protective and she loves Jeff with all of her heart, and there ain't no backing down from that, dude. There's no.
And this is. Oh, sorry, Trey. You go ahead.
She was going on Dixie. Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
She was going in on Dixie. Like, she did not hold back.
No, not at all.
I don't blame her. Like, Jeff is a lot. I think Jeff is kind of like forgive and forget type of personality. Maybe not forgive and forget, but
move on.
He's willing to. He's more like, I'm gonna move on from this.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of forgiveness there too, whereas Karen is just like, nah, fuck you.
I watched
fuck you. Yeah.
So I watched My World after I got done watching episodes. I watched the special My World on his podcast, which, by the way, it's a good podcast if you're listening to the podcast, but it's not better than ours. I'm just gonna say that anyway.
No, it's definitely better than ours.
I know.
We don't have Conrad Thompson.
No one can see that. I'm smiling right now because I'm off camera. But anyways, the point being is that's what Jeff said. He's like, I moved on. I'm at peace with her. I still talk to Dixie here now and then. I text her. Blah blah blah. I've forgiven her. Karen said, I have not. Fuck that bitch. Pretty much.
Right.
Basically, dude.
Outside of cursing her out, she sort of cursed her out without cursing her out. If you get my drift in the talk.
Yes.
Look, there's a lot of cursing out that happens in this later half of this is where things start to go off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
Because after this, Dixie fires Dutch Mantel, gives Russo full control. Then Jim Cornette sends that letter that's a threat. I'm not going to say what type of threat, but you can find out online.
For context, I will say one thing though. Before he sent that email, he got fired beforehand. So that was a private email.
Okay.
So this is what's weird about it. That was a private email sent to Terry Taylor, the Red Rooster. Okay.
Yeah.
He got fired. If you go to Jim Cornette's podcast, he's showing off his scouting reports and all that stuff. He got fired because they said he was too negative on the product. Which, grant you, that's Russo. I'm sorry, that's just a Russo thing. I can get you out of here too if I want. If I want you to.
Yeah.
He sent that email to Terry Taylor. I will not say what the context said about that email. You can find it up on Google. Google is your friend. Google it, bitches. I'm just kidding. But seriously, go look it up on Google. But he was already fired, and so Cornette was already pissed off. He just lost his job. Plus, he
went fully fucking unhinged.
Yeah, because he told her
even if you lose your job, don't fucking send an email like that. Like, what Don't be a schizoid fucking freak. Come on.
I will say for Cornette one thing though, he did have a lot of positions in the company. He was helping do produce matches. He was helping in creative. He was helping in the production truck with the director and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't fucking mean you send a like that. Though, right?
My point being is he was going to ask for a raise, and he said, well, it's funny you say that, Jim. I'm gonna let you go. He's like, well, I guess we're far apart on that one. And then that's when the email came out. He wrote that to Terry Taylor, and Terry Taylor was head of talent relations at the time. And then allegedly, I don't have no proof, but this is from Cornette. Cornette accused Terry Taylor of sending the email to the entire office, including Vince Russo, because his quote unquote, him and Russo are the Christian, the Christian gang. So let's double team me and get me out of here. And that's when all that went down with the whole FBI thing and everything between. But anyways, I'm getting long-winded in the tooth.
That's a whole situation that could use its own Dark Side of the Ring episode, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of this turns into a Vince Russo Cornette going at each other.
Yeah, that part I don't think we really needed that part in the episode. No. I know they had to kind of cover it, but like I just feel like it was like, okay, this is I kind of knew that at some point in this episode or in this series of episodes, because they have Cornette and Russo, that the two of them were going to trade fucking shots at each other, and it's just fucking pathetic at this point. Like
it felt like
genuinely, it's two old washed men screaming at each other over the fence.
Do you think they should say that for the third episode, at least, if they're going to do that, or do you think they should have just not done it at all altogether?
I mean, I think it might as well get it out of the way now where the situation happens, right? Yeah. But they neither of them can help themselves. They're both fucking insufferable when it comes to one another, and it's really fucking annoying.
It turned into a little teaser for that Dark Side of the Ring that they're probably going to do. It almost felt like a little mini teaser.
At some point, dude. I don't know. So then we kind of get to the end of the episode, and it's Dixie brings Jeff back for one meeting with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan.
A month after sending him home, by the way. Just point that out. A month after.
Yeah. And Eric is they bring in Hogan, who has no fucking clue what's going on.
No.
Average Hogan moment. He's just kind of like, what? You're going to pay me? I'll be here.
Yeah.
And Eric Bischoff is basically brought in to be the Vince Russo veto, because obviously there's a little bit of history from WCW, if you don't know, between Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan.
9 years before this whole meeting, by the way.
Yeah. So Eric Bischoff is brought in to basically protect Hogan's character.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely won't have any negative impacts on this show whatsoever going forward.
Totally. It totally won't.
It definitely won't.
Gaga.
And this is basically where the episode ends. That's basically it.
And
it tees up
the third.
The next episode is going to be the Hogan era of TNA, and also what was Jeff up to at that point in time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get Global Force Wrestling? I hope so.
I hope so.
And I think they tease a certain Victory Road moment from 2011.
No, they do. They show a clip of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think
and they have Jeff. They have Jeff there in the interview, so it's. I assume they're going to ask Jeff about it.
I think they cover him coming back in 2017 as well on the third episode. I think what we'll see is like how he left TNA in 2012, 2013. I think he did. Jeff did. He left
around that time. Yeah.
I think we'll show. They'll show that. They'll probably show him going to New Japan with the Bullet Club there for a minute.
They'll show it. It'll end with him in AEW.
Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna cover that long stretch of TNA and Jeff's history.
Yeah. And probably talking about what he does now behind the scenes in AEW and on screen, et cetera, et cetera. So
My World with Conrad Thompson.
which is smart by Tony. Your brand AEW's on the last episode of Dark Side of the Ring for TNA, so that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, let's start with Trey. Trey, what were your thoughts on Dark Side of the Ring episode 1 and 2? What are you thinking? How you feel?
Overall, it was really good. It was well produced. I always love when Dark Side of the Ring has like the little actual, I guess you could say, reenactment moments in there. And I really like they got a lot of inside of Jeff Jarrett's psyche. The wife section was really hard to watch, but Karen protecting her man was great. So she was definitely the VIP interview, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting a lot of the background of TNA was good. I cannot wait for 3 because I do want to get more insight on Victory. I mean, I know enough about it, but I do want to get a little bit more about Victory Road 2011, especially from some of the wrestlers that were there at the time. So, so that's, if I were to rate it real quick, out of 10, I'd probably give this 9 out of 10, both episodes. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, really good. Mr. T, any thoughts from you before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I thought both episodes were really done. Like Trey said, I thought they were really well produced. I thought the producers, the people who did this whole thing did a great job. It's one of the things I do like about Dark Side of the Ring. This is more like it's a serious episode, but it's not like so depressing. It's like, wow, I don't want to watch wrestling ever again type of thing. You know what I mean? Like some of the episodes they produced. So I thought this was a really informative stuff. If you're not aware of what happened during that time period in TNA, I think Jeff comes off as a what's the word I'm looking for here? Jeff comes off as a big time survivor. Like, even though you can try to keep the guy down, he's not going to stay down. And
yeah,
the stuff that he's gone through and endured in his life, personally and professionally, the dude's a hell of a guy. So, I mean, hats off to him. And I do agree with Trey. Karen definitely was the best part of the documentary of both episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought she stole the show. So I really am looking forward to episode 3. I am looking forward to seeing what they talk about, how they end it. So, yeah. So I guess we'll just wait until Tuesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait till Tuesday, everybody. Thank you all for watching this documentary series. The first two episodes are really good. So again, if you haven't watched them, you should have watched them before you watch this. But go through and watch it because there's so many little things that we didn't cover. All right, we're not covering every single thing that happens in them because then there would be no point in watching the doc. So there's still a point for you to watch that. Go ahead, watch it. It's really good. It's only 2 hours, not even. It's like 40 minutes per episode, so it's not even an hour, right?
I think altogether it's like an hour and 28 minutes, but it doesn't feel like that. It goes by very quick. It goes by very quick.
Especially the second episode, dude. That episode 2 is like breakneck speeds.
Yes,
because you're just in the middle of all the crap that was being teed up in the first episode.
Yep.
So yeah, make sure you go and check that out. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn the notifications on. We will be back on Saturday for a stream. And yeah, that's all we have for you today. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you later.
Peace.